Hey everybody, welcome back to the Garden by the Brook. Got a nice tour on deck for you today. Stop number one is this new pepper bed that we have rehabilitated. So here's what it looks like now. We got here by adding some Coast of Maine raised bed organic garden mix to the top, maybe about an inch or so. And then we kind of laid everything out. We got an eggplant on the end here. It's going to get 2 buddies by the time all is said and done. And then we're going to have about 15 pepper plants in there. So a 5x3 situation for the peppers. So the peppers are super sad right now. We had them in a soil mix that I'm no longer a big fan of. And we're going to hit them with some heavy nutrients, but so we're going to dig a hole just big enough for the pepper because we're no dig style, and we're going to make sure that we get enough depth so that we can bury the stem. In each hole we're going to throw some of this organic garden tone from Espoma, never knew how to say that. And the roots look pretty decent on these despite how yellow they are. Hopefully they will love being in contact with that slow release nutrition. And yeah, go ahead and tuck each one in. And then we're gonna, because these are so far behind, we're gonna give them a nice collar of nutrition as well. So every time it rains or we water, this top layer is just gonna trickle down into the roots and just slowly feed the plant and kind of cover all your bases. Really love using this stuff. So with any luck, these will green up over the next few days and start looking great. Last thing I'm going to do to this bed is go ahead and add some grass clippings. You can see that in the first footage of it. But enough of that bed for now. Let's go over to the primary spring bed where we have lettuce and bok choy and peas and a bunch of volunteered dill in the corner. Everything here is starting to look pretty good. We're worried that it's going to bolt though because we've had some hot weather. We've been using the shade cloth in an effort to get it to go a little farther and kind of fake the spring for longer. But we need to start harvesting these. We should probably harvest them head by head because this bed is going to be primed for tomatoes. So along the outside of the bed we have some pepper plants as well. Quick shot of those. And then in the corner of the bed we have a bunch of volunteered dill that we've left for now and we'll probably slowly pull out over the next few weeks. Peas along the backside, and they are not flowering yet. I wish they were. Next to that bed we have the secondary spring bed, I guess you could call it. So we have a bunch of Asian greens in here called the Yodfa, and a couple more bok choys, and then we just dropped tomatoes in between a lot of the stuff. Got a marigold on the end there. This is a high use bed right now. So this is the Yodfa. It's a nice brassica that is, you can eat all parts of it. It's pretty quick growing in the spring. It can handle a frost into the fall as well. It's a nice little thing to intercrop and just get more out of your bed space. So just left of there we have our circular stone beds, 3 of them in a row. This one is full of radishes and Asian stir-fry greens, most of which have bolted. We got a few radishes this year. They were tasty, but not a lot of them. This bed of garlic is not doing nearly as well as the other bed. And that's because all the smaller cloves that I had for seed garlic last year went into this one. And all the bigger cloves went into this one right here. And you can tell, man, these are the biggest garlic we've ever grown. They're like 3.5 feet tall right now, pretty much up to my waist. And really optimistic that we're gonna get big heads of garlic. These are Music is the variety. Got a bit of an inadvertent garlic experiment going on. I'll have to make a whole video about that. But moving on to this guy, this is a hardy kiwi that is supposed to be fine for our climate. This is the first year that it has looked anywhere near strong, and we gotta consider making a bigger structure for it because it's just up this spirally little pole for now. Moving over to this bed, it's mostly full of volunteer stuff right now, though I did drop some squash in it and that marigold on the end. That is lettuce right there in the middle that came up by itself from last year, and some dill. Most of the other stuff is borage, and then I have placed these 2 squash on the end. I believe they are Bedding's Green Tint, which is a scallop squash. Very strong variety. I'll know for sure in a couple weeks since I botched my labels. Here's a shot of some of the random borage that's popped up. We've transplanted a bunch, but I'll just have to pull some of that. This is a bed that was almost entirely full of volunteer dill, and then this volunteer lettuce is looking nice on the end. In between, I've dropped a bunch of garlic again, because we love garlic. This is going to be a second round of music. They're looking really, really strong, and then I also added a bunch of garlic that was left in the ground last year, kind of missed it. And all the cloves grew separately. I pulled them out one rainy day, separated them carefully, and transplanted them. So that's part of the great garlic experiment, is will these actually grow into anything worth using next year? Because it's a pain cutting small pieces of garlic. Here is a relatively new potato bed, but there is a big mound of winter squash there on the end. Past that, I have potatoes last year that must have maybe little microtubers persisted, and now I have them planted exactly where they were last year, even though I dug them up. So that's kind of cool. I got some free potato plantings there. I like where they are, so I'll leave them. Right here we have some winter squash. We got kabocha, we've got waltham in there, which is a butternut squash, and I've got this zucchetta tromboncino squash that's a real topic of conversation. Grows a really funny fruit. Over here to the potato trench, you might remember a couple videos ago I was just planting these. Of course they are up and at 'em and growing like crazy. Some of them look really strong, so I'm happy about that. This variety is called Kennebec. It is a white potato that's supposed to be really good for roasting and frying. Looking forward to it. Couldn't resist getting a quick shot of this chive. It's been essential for the pollinators, and we ate so many of those chives, mostly just chopping them up, putting them on potatoes. So this is a shot of our raspberry situation, a lot stronger than last year. All of us love raspberries, but in the past we haven't quite got enough to freeze like bags of them. We had them in some rocky soil and it needed amending, but they look really strong this year. Want to give you guys an update on the plum tree since we did release that video about treating for plum curculio. Go ahead, check that out if you're having curculio issues. Here you can see the clay on the plums. I swear it doesn't stick to plums as well as some other fruits. We've sprayed some pears and it seems like the clay hangs around on the fruits much better, making a barrier. So we have lost some to curculio, but we still have some nice looking fruit. Underneath that tree is this comfrey, which has just become a whole situation. We're gonna have to dig some up, but it's beautiful and the pollinators love it. Hummingbirds visit very frequently. And beneath that, we have a bunch of strawberries. The amount of fruit for the amount of foliage is something I'm real into. I hope I hope we get them all. I hope the birds don't steal them, chipmunks don't steal them. Got a nice mulch under them for once to reduce the weed competition and keep that water in there to get nice big berries, so should know pretty quick if we're getting good ones. They'll be done in a few weeks. Another shot of some comfrey here. It has seeded itself all over, and some of it's pink like this, and then we have others that have come up and are more on the purple side, kind of like hosta flowers. Very beautiful stuff. Supposed to be good at taking nutrition from very deep within the soil and bringing it up to the surface. So we're going to end today on a shot of that pepper bed from earlier. It's just been about 2 days. You can see the eggplant is doing well and has some buddies next door now. We dropped them in. Filled in the gaps in the peppers as well. So we've got jalapenos, purple and green in there. And we've got a whole bunch of stuff that I cannot wait to show you. Mostly Hungarian peppers. So you can see everybody's starting to green up a little bit, which is good, and that grass has dried out a little bit. Make a nice mulch. That's all we got for now. Thanks for watching. This is probably going to be the last spring tour because the unofficial start of summer is in just a few days, Memorial Day weekend. So, yeah, hey, happy growing. Tune in next time. Peace.